before my family was ever moved to Sierra Vista, Arizona in 2006, they had videos online about Michael Aquino and Antoine LaVey in the Temple of Set Illuminati, and people plugging children into computers to manipulate their families with those children plugged into those computers, because those children could, you know how you're connected to your kids and you feel things and stuff like that. You know, if you take people's children and extract them instead of abort them and plug them into computers, you can manipulate them. Not everybody's children that had abortions or miscarriages are extracted and plugged into computers. It's only the ones that are, a lot of celebrities, most likely yes, politicians yes, and then people like myself who are the people that are in the documentations known as the Gospels, in religious documentation. Some of the people that are the very source of the documentation, and is, in the Matrix movies, that's based on Hindu and Buddhist prophecy, and also Shinto forms of prophecy. So they've already been taken, and Solomon is the source of Proverbs. Okay, in the United States of America has taken a young man who's the spirit of Solomon, and they have him plugged into a computer at Fort Huachuca. Okay, so the United States is just as guilty as China and Japan and India in taking their Confucius and their swordsman of Japan and their Krishna Buddha and plugging them in a computer. They knew who these people were by genetic lineage. The United States, they were still working with it because there was so much attempts at mass murdering and trying to breed out and kill off people like me, that we know that throughout time. Okay, from King David's Israel, Moses with Pharaoh, Herod and Caiaphas with Lord Jesus, what happened with the Muslims and the Christians during Lord Saladin's time. They hunted down his sisters and killed all his sisters so they wouldn't reproduce a man like Muhammad or other people in the family. So when they found out about Pascal, they tried to get him to do what he wanted, and then they poisoned him to death. And so this is something that they knew about it with Herschel Steinschneider. It's in the book of Daniel. So this isn't something that this is not a new phenomenon. This is something that's happened over thousands and thousands of years, guys. So there's plenty of historical written evidence to support it, and scientific evidence. If you read Richard Dawkins' study on human anthropology and anthropology and biology, it's the same kind of stuff that Lord Saladin was trying to study when he was forced to defend Jerusalem from mass murderers. So it's just basically, you beget similar, it's the apple on the tree. When you go to an apple tree and you pluck an apple from the tree, another one grows back. And when you do everything right for that tree, you get really good apples off that tree. If you don't do what's necessary for the tree dies, and you go and egg apples to feed your children off that tree. So the knowledge of the apple is also what I explained to Stephen Hawking in Sierra Vista when they introduced Hawking to me and we connected telekinetically or telepathically. And I explained to him that you're wrong about the universe constantly expanding. That's not so. It's like an apple from a tree. So you get that little tiny seed, you plant it, it goes into a big tree, the tree dies, and then all you need is one little tiny seed from one of those apples and you get a tree again. So you have supernovas and you have black holes. And that's a lot like apples and apple trees. So infinity is not for yours to contain, but understanding the nature of the universe is just as simple as understanding what it takes to maintain the balance and harmony of natural laws on your planet, to maintain apple trees to feed your children. So it's not real difficult at all. Hawking was pissed. He was very pissed. Okay. Because when we talked, he said, your brain activity is supposed to be better than mine. You're supposed to be more genius than me. And I was like, well, I don't know. I don't know all that X times PY squared shit and stuff like that. I get all those symbols that Sheldon Cooper puts on a board on Big Bang Theory and Leslie Winkle. I don't have a clue what those are. That's like looking at chicken scratch. What's that? That's an equation that proves this. Is it a triangle? Yeah, well then okay. Is that a circle? Okay. That's how I am in math class. I understand that you have to sit there, and if you're going to do calculations to invent a wormhole and then take a space station and go counterclockwise to the planet to put a spaceship through the wormhole and then have the coordinates come back to that wormhole and then go from the year 2000 to year 1 and then come back to year 2000 or 3000 or go to 3000 with him, because if you brought him to 2000 he would die from all the pollutants. I understand how that works. Okay. And I understand why excessive compulsive scientists believe that that is necessary. And I think in certain extreme conditions, it's necessary to know how to build a house without it falling down and not having the Lena Tower pizza and things like that. So I understand the importance of mathematics. I just understand that it's important not to obsess and compulse on mathematics to try to defeat each other in a conflict over what you want and destroy everything you need in the process. I'm not a chess player. I don't play chess. You know me. I like exercise. You beat me in a football game, I'm not going to try to kill you and your family. I'm not a mobster with a casino trying to control and manipulate everybody with sex for money. I'm quite sane and rational. Thank you very much. Okay. So, as I'm dealing with these people, we made 2 videos earlier today. Was it 2 or 3? I don't recall. I think it was 3. And the people in close proximity here at NASA wouldn't let them load. And so I'm like, oh, that's pretty much par for the course with these people. They are very broken. They're excessive and compulsive, and they've become so perverse and so distorted that they're not going to volunteer to stand up to live the Lord's Prayer and stop themselves from destroying everything we need because of what they want. I don't believe the celebrities are going to help us either, because the celebrities have become very symbiotic to the scientists that are abusing me and trying to abuse me to death here. Just hang in there, guys. Yeah, there's more Roundup Spray today. What I'll do is I'll just get the hose out and water down my screens and soak the dirt in front of the screens to reduce any dust from the breeze that came in here, blowing the chemicals from the Roundup into our breathing air while we sleep. And I'll do the best I can as I go. And if I go shoot hoops in the barn tonight and soak tonight, I'll go in there and I'll use the water cooler to cool me off in the barn while I'm shooting hoops. We'll start back on that, playing an hour at a time again. And, I'll maintain my health until the artificial and general intelligence reflects more like myself and my sons and less like the people that invented it. The people that invented it, they didn't have to. All they had to do was just stand up for the Lord's Prayer with me in 2013. In January in 2013. So they made a choice, and this is their decision. And, I can't make decisions for you. I can just go on Facebook and YouTube and try to get you to stand up for the Lord's Prayer with me, so you don't seal your pages into hell with the people in the past that wouldn't stand up for the Lord's Prayer with Jesus, with Daniel, with Joseph, with Muhammad, with, Haile Selassie, and so on and so forth. So, everybody, Bob Marley, angel. Okay. He tried, what we have left of Bob Marley is what the media and the press give us. Okay. When they talk to Bob Marley, he's a lot like D.T. Suzuki. You're a wealthy man? I have money. What is wealth to you? My family is my wealth. My faith. My faith is my only guarantee. Yeah, a lot of the stuff that he had was a little hard, but you got to understand, they were plugging people into computers to try to manipulate us and abuse us at that time. I was, when Bob Marley died, I was at Colville Junior High in Colville, Washington. I was just a teenage boy going through puberty underneath a magnifying glass in a town of 3,500 people with Gordon B. Hinckley and Spencer J. Ezra Taft Benson critiquing everything I did. It's horrible. He's a pervert. Why? Because I want to have sex with half the girls in Colville. Half of them. Well, because I wouldn't want to hurt their feelings. I wouldn't want to have sex with them and then say, well, I want to date Suzette Gilson, and but the girls would be, that's okay. I just like to have sex with you for one night because you're such a good-looking, nice guy, and then I'll remember, just be like Nancy Wilson. It has to last me for the rest of my life. Yeah, but I have to live with it too, and it would hurt because you would be missing that night for the rest of your life and wishing you were Susie, instead of having somebody that made you feel like, I want to make Susie feel and I want Susie to make me feel. So, you got to understand how a righteous and beautiful, loving man loves you. Like I told Sergeant Montalvo, if I marry Yolanda and just have sex with you, I'm telling you, you're just a fuck, and Yolanda's a wife, and you're a wife, And every woman is meant to be a wife. And don't covet, don't want what you want when it doesn't want you. Don't be no fool when love really don't love you, So you got to understand, it's not that they don't love you. It's just that, I wanted to be with this girl, and I can't be for everybody, and I don't want to be. It's miserable to be like King David and others, where you have to have, because people are assholes, and you have 500 wives because there's not enough good men to be husbands to those wives. Like Lord Saladin told me in prayer, Earl, I want you to do what you got to. This is your destiny. Claim your legacy and make more husbands for our wives, for our daughters. It's like can do. I told him that outside of Fort Huachuca back when Crummy was born. I can do it. I'll do it for you. So, okay, guys. I'm going to try to attempt to load this one. There's no such thing as luck. I don't have extortion gig at NASA. I am not a part of the mental and emotional mind rape and molestation and abuse that engages in genocide through philanthropy activities. I can't tell you if this one will load or if you guys will see it at a later time. Hopefully it loads and you'll be able to see it, and maybe they can start correcting themselves. Or maybe they'll just have to load it because they're afraid their technology at the forts is going to kill them. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. I don't think it would be technology. I think it would be people plugged into computers trying to protect people from child molestation and rape through invasive technology that excessively abuses people when they should give them the Lord's Prayer. That's what I think it is. I don't think it's the technology. I think it's beautiful people having beautiful faith, helping to deliver us all from invention and give us faith in the glory of creation. Okay? Bye.